Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to our West Valley Village gathering. We're so excited this morning to introduce to you Melissa Jones from Moment of Truth Physical Therapy. It is in Peoria, and Melissa is joining us this morning to talk about meditation, what it is, and how can we incorporate it into our day in a way that makes sense for us. Give us a couple of different ideas for how we can practice meditation. She's been a physical therapist assistant since 2007, and she just fell in love with treating the mind, body, and soul through hands-on myofascial release. And she studied under John Barnes, and she became an expert level MFR therapist. She's recently become a yoga teacher. She completed her 200-hour yoga teacher training, which is no small thing. And she's got a passion for assisting women to honor themselves through manual healing, connecting to a natural form of healing, helping them to their goals, and returning them to a lifestyle that they desire. She's also a wife, a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a stepmom, a cousin, and a friend. I mean, oh my gosh, right? Like, who could be more perfect to join us? And she also loves yoga and the hidden cures that it holds within breath and movement, allowing the body to move more fluidly and freely and release those restrictions that we all hold on to. So welcome, Melissa. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're glad you're here.
Thank you for that intro. Yes, work here in the physical therapy office in Peoria. I live in Phoenix, have a stepson. He is grown and married of 3 years now. So kind of interacted with him as of age 17, working with moms primarily within our office pre and post natal, also treating some kiddos and some family with tongue tie releases later on, and incorporating some of that aspect of meditation, mindfulness, sinking in, being present within our own bodies, within our treatments day to day within the office.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. Feel free to go ahead and just slide on into your presentation, and we'll walk with you through that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I have some notes that I'll probably glance down at for a bit of reference. I'm not usually a presenter. I usually am just one-on-one with my clients. Through the intros of just kind of within this space, hearing kind of a lot of, maybe we're not doing meditation daily, but more than likely we all are, because meditation has different forms. Primary takeaway being that you show up, and maybe even if it's just 3 breaths, taking 3 full inhales, 3 full exhales. We all have different ways that meditation is going to resonate with us. There's different apps out there to help guide us through it. Maybe it's breath, maybe it's meditating while you're running or gardening, or even doing the dishes. I know my mom used to say she wanted to do the dishes because that was her quiet headspace time. The rest of the family was off doing what they were doing, and she was just in her own quiet and meditating as she did the dishes. So just that simple, we can check out, clear our minds. Meditation being a journey or a process itself, not right, not wrong in the way that we're doing it, a process of self-exploration, self-discovery, self-transformation, trying to get to more of a non-thinking state of awareness. I know gratitude meditation was discussed earlier. And sometimes just that focused intention on one thing is a great way of meditation, setting up your mindset, setting your day forward. I know even just driving into work today, kind of that cleared mind. I sat and had a few moments just for breath this morning, using breath as a meditation this morning. The past rain that we've had here in the valley, the plants are all starting to blossom, and the flowers were just radiant this morning on my way in. So those purple flowers on the freeway was just sort of a way to have a clear mind. I might have missed that if I hadn't taken 5 minutes for myself this morning to move forward into my day. So meditation can just lead to those clear moments through the day. Meditation, just being more curious within your space, being able to breathe completely, more of moments of freedom, finding bliss in the expanded moments of that. You can think of, we all say we might not have the time to commit, but we might commit to an exercise or a workout program or walking with the neighbor. But meditation can be a sport for the mind if we think of it that way. Sometimes we create to-do lists for ourselves. So if it's like, I want to go play tennis, you might think of it more of a sport for the mind, so that we're more apt to maybe do it in that sense of putting it on the list of things to do, but incorporating it through the day. It is a mind trick. Sometimes our mind wanders, and that's okay. Kind of just touching those thoughts and returning back. It's not necessarily staying on track for that time, even short bits of it through the day, all taking, 3 breaths and exhaling. Falling in love with your mind again. Sometimes we check out and we don't want to be in that thoughtful, centered, in our own space. Maybe life is hectic. Maybe we are dealing with patients that are juggling all of the pieces, back to school right now, dropping the kids off and all of those things. Maybe we don't want to think that our little one is off to school, but if we take a moment and sit with it, maybe we can accept it and just find joy in their transformation as we're able to transform in that quiet presence. State of awareness and constant as well. The pandemic is still a thing that's happening right now. So when our worlds aren't constant and they're forever changing, sometimes being able to check in with ourselves, check in with that present moment, and the constant breath is constant, whether we know it or not, through the day. So even if you're using breath as a primary way to meditate through the day, just that flow through our body, like that ocean wave when we sit at the ocean, that ocean wave is constant, breath is constant. Meditation can be constant in our day. Don't sell yourself short for, I only spent 3 minutes doing breath or a meditation. You still meditated, like you showed up, you did it. There's no right or wrong in that sense. Like I say, we all gather meditation a little bit differently. I'm going to speak on a few different forms of meditation in a moment. Not forcing it. Like I say, give yourself that credit. Don't feel obligated to, have a clear mind, sit like a Buddhist and, be in this enlightened moment. That's not truly what meditation is. It's kind of clearing the mind so that you can get into that connected state with yourself. Sometimes posture is a thing. If we're here and we're, running around, we still need a little bit of that fluid movement, connecting with ourself, posture a little bit to get that breath to flow. Like I say, that consistent ocean flow, we still need breath to move through us to be able to connect or be attached. Trying not to put force on it. So simply, everyone, whether eyes are open or closed, we're just going to focus on an inhale and an exhale. So just sitting softly, quietly. And as you breathe in, tell yourself inhale. As you breathe out, say the word exhale. So breathing in, inhale. Breathing out, exhale. Breathing in, inhale. Breathing out, exhale. Breathing in, inhale. Breathing out, exhale. Opening eyes if you chose to kind of soften. I'm going to open it just as a question. Who feels a little bit more centered in their self, even if it's a raise of the hand after just 3 breaths? So you all meditated. So 3 minutes, 3 breaths, not even 3 minutes, 1 minute. So we can all do it and we can all give ourselves that credit. Sometimes that empty, we don't want to sit with that empty feeling and we try to increase or stir up, or like I say, we might not want to sit with it, and that's okay. Those moments, that type breath meditation might not be for you. You might need a movement meditation. You might need to go expel some energy and go on a run, and you're focused on that one thing of the run, the exercise, the activity, but you can still clear your mind of other senses. So you're not getting stimulations from other things. Maybe you're on a run and thoughts pop in, just place them to the side. Maybe it's a conversation you had with a coworker earlier. Place that aside and come back to it later. Maybe the phone rings because you've got your phone with and you're listening to music. Acknowledge the phone ring and then continue with what you're doing. So we can all meditate. Meditating anytime, any place. There isn't necessarily a rhyme or a reason of a when. Some people like it first thing in the morning to clear their mind, set their intention for the day. Some more, it's the apps that help you fall asleep if you're trying to get that benefit of decreased anxiety, better sleep. So finding what's right for your body. Maybe reasons to do it are lowering stress, connecting better to self, improved focus, understanding pain. Sometimes pain can be physical pain. Sometimes pain can be things that we're holding on to. The things that we hang on to within myofascial release when we're treating our clients, getting them just to feel and understand their own bodies is a big part of what we do here. Not that we're getting them into a meditative state while we work on them, but just being present in their own body. So sometimes in that clearer state of mind, you might understand a conversation you had with a partner, a friend, an emotional pain, a physical pain. So it can help us through the day and process things better rather than instantly getting anxious again or confused about what might be coming up in conversations. Lower blood pressure, lower chatter of the mind, improved sleep, and reduced anxiety are primary reasons that someone might meditate, or kind of the benefit if you've been told to meditate or meditation might be beneficial to you. Those might be reasons or stems of why it's being initiated. How to meditate. So sometimes we need to notice our own bodies. We need to feel our own breath. We need to understand our own mind. How sometimes we need to be kinder to ourselves and take that moment. Like I mentioned, we all have that to-do list and we're go, 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 but maybe we need to take that time, and how to meditate might be more of a noticing ourselves, stopping that chat, setting a time limit. So maybe you set a 5-minute timer and you meditate for 5 minutes, and you're taking away the anxiousness of, oh, I didn't meditate well enough because I didn't meditate for 20 minutes, or like Susie did yesterday when she was telling me about it. So setting boundaries or realistic goals for yourself in that sense. Maybe you're using an app that helps you fall asleep. Well, the benefit is to fall asleep. So if you fall asleep during the meditation, it worked. If you have even the head, there's different apps and such, the Headspace, Insight Timer, Daily Calm. Sometimes it's just even the music that you're listening to, and maybe you set 5 minutes aside of your lunch break and you're listening to just rain sounds and it's having you breathe as it counts for you. Definitely meditation. So there's different reasons that we're all going to connect to it. Tips. Easiest one is the breath or a focal point, or connecting to a sound and just letting the rest of the chatter leave our minds. Just kind of resonating with what's coming up for yourself. There's different types of meditation. I know we kind of touched on breath. Breath is the easiest. Sometimes just breathing in, breathing out, that full inhale, full exhale. Sometimes I have patients count, and they're inhaling and they're counting on the exhale, and they might set a goal to count to 10. If a thought comes in, they have to restart, and then just building yourself up from there. If you set a goal to 100, you might not reach that. So that realistic goal of even counting to 10 with a clear mind is going to be a struggle for some with all of the things that are coming into our life day to day. So a lot of times it's, I like 6. So I tell patients to count to 6 within that. So I'm going to guide you through a different one, being a light meditation. So as we sit calmly, quietly, sitting comfortably, eyes can be open or eyes can be closed. Taking one full inhale, one full exhale. Just being curious within your body. Where might you feel tension? For myself this morning, it's behind my left shoulder blade after working out yesterday. So I want you to think of yellowish, white, bright light. Maybe you choose a different color to bring it into the space of tension in your body. And go ahead and fill that space of tension. Maybe it's your heart center, maybe it's your gut because you're hungry, maybe it's your head because you've got a to-do list running through. And just bring light to that area. Being kind to yourself, being thoughtful for yourself. Can you fill that space? Just 2 more breaths here. And then opening or coming back to if you choose to, otherwise staying in it. Again, raise a hand. How many feel a little bit lighter, filled with kindness, filled with joy? Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. I see all raised hands. So another simple way, I like examples and guiding through, because then that gives you options or varieties to take with you after this talk. We've all heard of meditation. We all may not think we're doing it as often as we are. We can meditate and be mindful, just present, as observing patterns, being aware of how we are. Even red light at the stop sign, the cars behind you will let you know when it's time to go. But even if you take 2 seconds to sit and be aware of what's coming next, how you're feeling, where your system is in that moment, just presence with yourself, mindful presence is a form of meditation. I know spiritually, meditation, yoga can kind of have it intermixed. Sometimes it's, just speaking to a higher power, speaking to a God, or speaking to the universe, just putting it out there and talking your piece, whether it's that's more for yourself. And that's what meditation is kind of coming into your own. If you need a space just to talk, maybe you're just chatting to the universe because you felt like 3 things went wrong today. You're dropping everything. You forgot your lunch and all of those pieces. So maybe just taking a moment and putting it out there and putting out the emotion that might be you want to come back to you. A lot of times we can then just run on autopilot. But if we speak to the universe and we're like calm, peaceful, joyful, easy day, we kind of set our mind to that. Same as a morning gratitude journal or meditation, that just brings us into a state of mind to take us through the rest of the day. So I have another visualization meditation that I'm going to take you through. So whether eyes are open or eyes are closed, sometimes meditations are great with music. Don't have great music in the current moment, but meditation can be done with music. So same idea, just finding that comfortable seat, elongating your breath, letting it be expansive, Full inhale, full exhale. So as we visualize and tap into our senses, just it's going to be different for each of us because we're going to all visualize something different. We're going to hear something different. But just let what comes up for you resonate for you. So full inhales, full exhales. So begin by visualizing a favorite vacation memory, place at the beach, your favorite spot. Maybe it's even the nook in your room where you like to go read. Maybe it's the bathtub. Maybe it's the beach. Just get a sense or a visualization of a favorite place. I'm going to have you visualize 5 things that you can see. Visualizing 5 things that you can see. So maybe you're visualizing the beach and those clouds are just popping out like cartoon clouds. The ocean got a deeper blue. The sand is glistening. What can you see? Tapping into the touch sensation. What are 4 things that you can touch? Can you get a sense of what they feel like? Can you feel the mist of the ocean? Can you feel the sand in your hands? What can you touch? Now, what might be 3 things you can hear? Still using my example of the ocean. Can you hear the waves? Can you hear children playing? Can you hear the seagulls? What are 3 things you can hear? Moving in to the sense of smell. What are 2 things you can smell? Can you smell the ocean waves? Can you smell that cup of coffee? Maybe you're sitting on the porch at a cabin in the forest. What can you smell? Lastly, visualizing the last sense. What can you taste in your favorite place that we're imagining? What can you taste? And then just returning to that visualization of your favorite space, place, moment, memory, vacation place. Scan through all of your senses. Maybe 3 more breaths. And as you're ready, go ahead and open eyes. If your eyes were closed. So there's a number of apps that can kind of take you through guided meditation, such as that. Daily Calm is one. Insight Timer and Headspace are the top 3 that maybe I use or recommend to clients. Easy enough to visualize. Take yourself through that if you even are in the car traveling with others and you just don't want to join the conversation, or you just had a meeting and you need to clear your mind to get back to that work set mindset. So maybe opening it up, if you pop up and have an answer, or typing it into the chat. How many of you were able to visualize where you were? How many of you were able to kind of drop into that peaceful, best space? Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe at 10 minutes max, probably 5 for my clock, but we all probably feel a little bit different. Like I can picture the beach, I can smell the beach, I can hear the beach. So that's sort of my favorite one, being that we're visualizing, we're tapping into all of our senses. What can we hear? What can we taste? What can we see? So that's usually a great one to take with you wherever you are. We all have senses and sensory overload, but if we can sensory overload to our favorite things, definitely puts us in a different mindset. Other meditation forms are moving. I mentioned gardening or running, my mom doing the dishes. Sometimes gardening could be one, even going for a walk in nature and just visualizing. Mantras are usually a common one that maybe you've heard of before. Repeating a positive phrase for yourself, repeating a certain word. Maybe that word of the day is just strength, because you need strength to get through the day. Maybe that word is love, comfort, or even that I am enough. So sometimes just repeating it through the day, you're just meditating all day in that sense, not that you're spending a dedicated time to it, but if you repeat a mantra just in those moments that you need to recenter, it is a form of meditation. Loving kindness. So sometimes we need loving kindness to ourselves, and or that the grateful might be a way to resonate with this. Being grateful, sending love out to others, sending love to ourselves is a great way to do it. So I have 1 or 2 more meditations. I know we still have a bit of time. So I'm going to take you through a progressive muscle relaxation. A lot of people don't necessarily think of this when we think of meditation. It's more for that body-mind connection that we use a lot within our office. So it's going to make you kind of contract muscles and then relax muscles. I know for myself, you can wear your shoulders as earrings by the end of the day when we're stressed and tense. Maybe we're not taking a full breath because our belly is tight and guarded, and just letting that full sigh out. So 1 more guided meditation. So finding comfortable seat within the space that you are, just kind of listening as we go through this. So still quieting your mind of distractions, finding a comfortable seat. If you're able to have feet on ground or not, which is fine, but finding that comfortable space. Maybe eyes are closed, maybe they're not. Distraction free. I'm going to have you first tense your right hand and your forearm. So whether you're making a fist, making things tight, tense. Exhaling out that tension. So then you're going to add to that, we're going to tense hand, forearm, and upper arm. We're going to relax out that tension. Full exhale. So as we go, adding to what we're doing, we're going to tighten right hand, right forearm, right upper arm. We're going to add the left hand and forearm. Full exhale out. Tensing left upper arm. So everything comes with that. Adding left upper arm. Full sigh out, relaxing. Adding everything tight. Adding forehead. Scrunchy forehead. Everything tense, tight. Full exhale. Hands, forearms, upper arms, forehead. Now your eyes and your cheeks. Everything tight. Full exhale out. Inhaling, tensing, adding mouth and jaw. Exhaling out the tension. Inhaling, tensing your neck. Exhaling, relaxing. Inhaling, tensing shoulders. Exhaling, relaxing shoulders. Inhaling, tensing shoulder blades and back. Exhaling, relaxing shoulders and back. Tensing chest and stomach. Relaxing chest and stomach. We're going to do that one more time. We're going to tense our chest and our stomach. Really tense. What do we feel? Can we let it go? Exhaling, relaxing. Tensing hips and buttocks. Exhaling, relaxing. Tensing upper leg. Relaxing upper leg. Tensing right lower leg. Relaxing right lower leg. Tensing right foot and toes. Relaxing right foot and toes. Tensing left upper leg. Relaxing right upper leg. Tensing left lower leg. Relaxing left lower leg. Inhale, tensing left foot. Exhaling, left foot and toes. Now we're going to inhale. We're going to tense everything. Maybe you take a few breaths here as you kind of breathe in that tension tighter, tighter. You sip in a bit more air. Can you make things more tense, more tight? Where can you find tension? Fists, forearms, shoulders, shoulder blades, forehead, face, hips, quads, toes. What does it feel like to be all scrunched? We're carrying that day to day. Can we sigh it out and let it go? Full body exhale. One more time, full body, everything tight and tense. Maybe even tighter. Exhaling that tension away. Stay relaxed for a bit. Take a few breaths, calm and relaxed. Just notice how this feels. How does your body feel? How does your mind feel? And as you're ready, kind of fluttering the eyes, maybe wiggle, stretch, coming back into the day. See some stretching, see some waking up. That's a great one that we like to use with our clients. A lot of times we might use it within our yoga classes as well. Sometimes you can just feel the energy as students come into class or into a session with us. Typically we see people for 60 minutes, but they're coming from, all parts of their day. Maybe they're coming from all of their kiddos. Oh, he took a moment to wake up. Yes, he was relaxed. But that's exactly it. It gets you into that present moment of being ready to receive, being ready to take on what's next of your to-do list, what's next of your day. So that's usually a really great one as well. So second favorite of my guided meditations. So the most important thing about meditation, if you don't take anything else away, the most important moment is the moment that you sit down. So whether you're sitting down, lying down, that's the most important moment that you're acknowledging yourself, you're checking in with yourself, and maybe it is even just a moment, still most important moment of that meditation. The rest of it can flutter away, take it or leave it, but most important moment being that you came to the table. Sort of a bit of what I have, unless there's open questions.
Yeah, feel free at this time if anyone has questions who's on Zoom with us, or if you're watching on Facebook, either live or replay, please don't hesitate to put your questions there on Facebook in the comments. You can also, if you're on Zoom with us, put your comments in the chat. We'd love to have Melissa answer those. Excuse me. Now I'm too relaxed now, Melissa. I'm like, whoa. First you took us on vacation. And then I almost fell asleep there. I just have an observation to share. I really liked the last one, and I really didn't like the last one. But I think that's kind of the point, maybe. Just the juxtaposition of the tension versus the, relaxing to an extent that maybe you wouldn't have relaxed before if you hadn't have compared it to the tension.
Yes.
That elevated also intentional tension. Tongue twister. Yes, that was icky but awesome.
Yes, very, very much so.
Yeah. Dr. Dalleman, go ahead.
Yeah, I like that last one too, because it forces you to connect with your body. And most of the time we're completely separated from our bodies, or running around with our thoughts. And so just to focus on your different body parts and that tension, and, some muscles, it's like, oh, gee, I can't even contract them. What's going on? We're so disconnected, and culturally and whatever, we're just not trained to spend any time doing that. So just those few minutes of that, and it gets you out of your head. You're thinking about something else. And that's crucial. I mean, that's just, what was that, 3 or 4 minutes? I mean, that was big. So imagine if everybody did that every day. I think the world could be a different place. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Yes. And I mean, even with you treating clients as well, like getting them to do that as a homework or a take home, or if you're treating them for tongue ties, like where else in their body is their tension? Maybe they are too disconnected, they can't even tell you. And then that's exactly where you need to treat.
Yeah. And I can kind of get an insight with patients, because some of them have difficulty just isolating where they're feeling this discomfort, because they're so disconnected from their bodies. So part of what I do, and they'll notice, oh, gee, I noticed my sitting in the chair, and they weren't even paying attention before, but just bringing that awareness to their posture and their muscles, it's like, oh yeah. So that gives them a little more power. It's like they can control some of this stuff for their own improvement and well-being. So that's fun to be able to do that. And it just seems like a little thing and sort of common sense to us, maybe, but for other people, it's like, wow, I never thought of that. That's cool.
I have a cool message in the chat here. I have a hard time focusing on my breaths during the tension part. And I have nothing to exhale when the tension release comes, something to work on. I thought that's a great observation. And maybe, again, aligning with that, being in tune with your body. Like if you're using all of that headspace to focus on the tension to the point where you don't have that breath anymore, or a handle on that breath, like it sounds to me like that's an important part to tune into as well. So would you have anything to add to that connection, Melissa, or any suggestions?
I mean, in the sense of the body-mind connection, sometimes we think meditation, or we are so focused on one thing that then you can't get to the next piece. So maybe not that you're spinning, but you're so focused on tension, tension, tension. Now, how do I let it go? Or maybe that is just a physical thing and there isn't an emotion or a tension attached to it. You can attach something else to it. Maybe it's just the anx of the day, or that you're just letting the whole day go. We all carry things through the day. So maybe you're carrying, the kiddos, you're carrying what you have to do, and that maybe you let that go more than the physical aspect of the tension in your muscles. So you can connect it to the mind in that sense too. So kind of finding that physical and mind space.
Yeah, that's very cool. Anybody else have anything to add? Do you want to share your favorite one of these meditations? No pressure, no pressure.
I also like that tension, relaxation, just made you more aware of your body, like everyone was saying. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Sarah. Absolutely. I really liked the focusing on the senses. It struck me how really attuned we are without being cognizant of our senses. Like you hadn't even gotten to smell yet, and I was like, I can smell the ocean, because I was totally at the beach, you guys, and totally my happy place. And it was just so interesting. Like once you start one, it's just this cascade. You almost can't stop it in a sense, and you know where you're going. Especially and after like the two first ones, I was like, oh, I see what you're doing here. And so it was easy to kind of roll and flow with that mentality of, okay, I know what I'm doing next. I'm tuning in to those things. Yeah. It was fascinating to me how vibrant those are in our mind's eye when we tune into them, I guess, in a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
Very
and when we are on vacation in that quiet, and we don't have, the rest of our to-do list, our work to get to. We absorb all of that, but how easy is it to check back into that? Even like I say, that 5 minutes of breath during lunch break, or 5 minutes of tighten and relax to get into, round 2 of the day, or take a mini vacation and just kind of feel all your senses. So just useful tips.
That's great. That's great. And going back to one of the things that I kept reiterating is, you being here to also not only talk about what this is all about, but how, the practical how, right? Because again, I think a lot of us started this thinking, well, it's really hard to, get enough time or be consistent with it. And I want to take a vacation every day now in my head. Absolutely. And again, like Dr. Delleman was saying, it's 3-4 minutes for that tension release exercise. I mean, we do have that time. It's just a matter of, I think, thinking through our day and maybe sometimes thinking about when could it be most useful during our day. As you mentioned, maybe you need to reset after a meeting, or maybe you're taking a drive and you need to just sit in the car for a second and regroup, essentially. Or maybe something comes up during our day and we realize, hey, this is the time that would help me. So I think that's the way I'll be going forward, using some of these ideas that you've brought. Jill, did you have your mic off? What's up?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. And I also, so the mini vacation one was also my favorite. And I like what I feel like often I find that the time that I need to meditate the most is when I have like a lot on my plate or a lot of stress. And so sometimes if I'm just doing like the breathing, it's helpful, but it doesn't necessarily, it just almost makes me a little bit more in tune with how much is going on, versus you're kind of giving like an opportunity to, bring your mind to something that's like more positive, more peaceful. And so that's super helpful.
Yeah, we all think of meditation as clearing our mind, but we can clear our mind of all the chatter is more of the sense of what we want to do. We think of Buddha in that enlightenment moment of like a clear mind, and he's just like floating as he's sitting, but we're clearing our minds of the chatter to then take on the next piece of our day, take on the next piece of our week, take on the meeting that we're heading into. So if you can clear your mind and just even be present with yourself for those few moments, it doesn't take a long bit of time. Kind of in that beginning intro, a lot of us were saying that maybe we've heard a meditation, we don't know if we're doing it right, we don't know if this is the right thing for me. So maybe breath work isn't the right thing all of the time. It can be kind of that simplest, just inhale, exhale, okay. But yeah, if you have like the mini vacation the senses one, or muscle tension, connecting body mind, as doctor said, being disconnected from ourselves through the day. Thank you.
That's excellent. Well, thank you, Melissa. Would you like to share other things on the Facebook Live at this time, or would you like to go into a more private Zoom chat and Q&A? It's completely up to you, and it's fine if you have gone through your presentation and are finishing up at this point. So
yeah, I don't have any additional information, but I can definitely continue answering additional questions if there are any, or giving specific like pointers to maybe a reference for how someone else could meditate.
Awesome. Well, Megan, just a quick check-in. Do we have any questions that were posed in Facebook right now?
Jenny Beaver stopped by on the Facebook page and she said hello. And we did share on the Facebook in the comments the Insight Timer, Calm, and Headspace in the comments. And so other than that, if you have anything else you'd like to share, we can toss that in the comments too, but we're good. We're set.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and we'll wrap up our Facebook Live. I do want to draw your attention to our upcoming gatherings before we pop off. We are going to be having on Friday, actually, as a part of our ecosystem lunchtime conversations, a lunch hour, 12 to 1 p.m., conversation about the impact of COVID-19 on infant feeding. So if you're interested in that scope, I would really highly encourage you to come. It should be a wonderful discussion, hearing from a mother about her experience during the pandemic, also hearing from a community healthcare worker who works with peer counseling at WIC for moms who are breastfeeding, and then also an IBCLC, a board certified lactation consultant. So a great array of experiences there to draw from, and then a time for discussion for our personal experiences, whether we practice or are a parent within this scope of infant feeding. So I really do encourage you to join that. In lieu of our central gathering, the second Wednesday of the month, Postpartum Support International is offering a free to Arizonans training for maternal mental health considerations. And so that will be concurrent with our typical gathering time. So we will not be meeting for our central gathering for next week on Wednesday. So just take note, if you're planning to come, we won't be here. And then the following week, we will be talking about breastfeeding. Our title is still to be determined, but we're going to be talking about breastfeeding in our East Valley gathering, which is going to be on that third Thursday. And then the last week in August, that fourth Wednesday, is our Tucson Village gathering. And we will be talking about cranial sacral therapy and how we can care for moms and babies, children, through that whole scope. And so that'll be a really neat topic to unpack and possibly have some relations to some of these recent topics when we talk about meditation, slowing down, tuning into ourselves, definitely relatable with CST. So I hope that you all will join us for those different topics and gatherings. And with that, we'll go ahead and pop off of our Facebook Live. Thank you all for joining us. And thank you again to Melissa for speaking and walking us through all those fantastic forms of meditation.